Good morning, class.
Good morning.
That's kind of tired, y'all. Good morning, class.
Good morning.
All right. My name is Willie Jefferson Jr. I cover video games at the Houston Chronicle. How many of y'all in here know what the Houston Chronicle is? Young lady, what is it?
Newspapers where they write articles about video games or sports.
You rock. I'm serious, definitely. Yeah. So it is a newspaper. It is over 100 years old. The newspaper now is owned by the Hearst Corporation. And my name, like I said earlier, is Willie Jefferson Jr. I've been in journalism, right, for nearly 17 years. How many of y'all know what journalism is?
The study to write plays, poetry, screenwrites.
Kind of, but it's basically journalism is what you're doing is, as a journalist, you journal particular events, be it plays. We do have a gentleman that works, his name is Everett Evans. He actually covers plays. You also write about science. We have a guy named Eric Berger that works there. He's known as Sci Guy. And also sports. How many out here love the Texans? Alright, so I actually know all of the writers that write for the Texans. How many of y'all love the Rockets? Astros. Alright, so all that. And then, of course, we also have people that cover politics. And then you have me. And what I do is I write about video games. Now, that's not my primary job. My primary job is I do tech support. How many of y'all familiar with what tech support is? Okay. Young lady, what is tech support?
Mostly it's what people, when somebody has a problem with their computer, they call tech support and tech support.
That's absolutely correct. So what I do is I work on the 5th floor downtown at the Houston Chronicle. And what I do most of the day, whenever anyone in editorial, and that's anyone that writes for the paper, be it the feature section, the city desk, and that's what covers different areas of Houston. For instance, if there's a bike, like a marathon or a bicycle accident or a shooting, the city desk pretty much covers that. Also sports. Well, all these people, we all use computers. Now, don't tell anyone this, but there are a few people who use these really old computers. Matter of fact, they're probably old as probably about 2 tables. If y'all add up all of your ages together, they're probably still older than y'all, all of y'all combined. But we, like I said, what I do is, okay, alright, I guess that's my buzzer. Alright, but what I do is I make sure that the computers are operating properly so that the reporters can do their stories. But my particular job, what I do, for the most part, like if you Google my name, Willie Jefferson, Houston Chronicle, what comes up, you'll see all of my video game coverage. Now, who in here has access to a smartphone right now? Okay. All right.
Who has an Android phone?
Who has an Android or an iPod? But y'all can't. Y'all can't bring them to school. Okay. Well, all right. If you Google my name, Willie Jefferson, then you'll see what comes up. All right. But enough about that. Let me just show y'all a couple things that I do. All right. How many of y'all ever heard of Halo? That's what I'm talking about. All right. For the uninitiated, all right. Halo is what you call a first-person shooter, all right? Who knows what the protagonist, all right? Protagonist of Halo. Who is the main character in Halo?
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Noble 6?
You know what? I'm going to let that slide. That's correct. All right, go ahead. Master Chief, that's right. He's known as John 117, all right? So, what happens is when I cover a particular video game, the companies, PR firms, developers, it all depends. What they'll do normally, they'll email me and say, hey, MadSkills, or hey, Willie, we have a game that's coming out. Would you be interested in covering it for the Houston Chronicle? And I say, sure, why not? So what they'll do is they will send me a review copy of the game. Depending on how popular the game is, sometimes they'll send really cool stuff like this particular briefcase. You, as a regular citizen, cannot get this case. The only people that were able to get this case are people who work in media, who write about video games, be it IGN, Kotaku, different gaming sites, and also newspapers, magazines. Well, so they send me games, actually have a little bit of stuff in here, all right? How many of y'all heard of Dead Space?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Does this look familiar?
Yeah.
Y'all know what this is?
Yeah.
Someone tell me what this is. Dead Space 3, all right? And just to make sure that I'm not playing or anything, this is Dead Space 3, okay? This game is actually...
At this time, if there is not a speaker in your room, please vote the founder.
Alright, so this particular game actually releases on Tuesday. What's the day?
Friday.
February the 1st, right? This actually releases on February the 5th, Tuesday. So it's pretty cool. So I'm actually holding something in my hand that, hey, what's going on, babe? How you doing?
Good.
Most definitely. All right, have a seat. So, like I said, but this particular game releases on Tuesday. Now, I know you're like, dude, that's pretty cool. So, like, I can go to GameStop after you talk, to the class and pick this up? No. Unless you know someone that works there, or you can also do some illegal stuff, which would actually land you and probably your parents in jail or a really stiff fine. But in order to be able to get games before release legally, then you have to review them. All right. So this particular game, I'm actually going to pass this around. Let me just take one thing out of here. All right. Oh, you know what? Actually, I redeemed it. All right. But I'm going to pass this around. Let y'all look at that. All right. So sometimes, depending on how big a game is, they will also send a review guide. All right. And what this is actually has guidelines on, okay, like these are some different things like that will help me get through this game very, very quickly. Other times, companies will send objects like this. Like this is Dishonored. All right, how many of y'all heard of this game? Okay, this game is actually, they sent this to me before release, so I was able to play it and then also have a review, write a review for the paper before it came out. So, and other times people will send objects, what they call swag, right? And that's stuff we all get. That's the clean version, right? For instance, this right here is what you call a first-person shooter freak, and it's FPS freak. What you do is you put these on top of your controller, and actually it elevates your thumbs so that you can move a whole lot faster. These work really good in sports games, and also they work really good with shooters, all right? So, who in here is the biggest gamer? Alright, tell you what. I'm going to pick one. There you go. Alright. Okay. And also, sometimes we get really, really cool stuff. For instance, like y'all saw the briefcase, alright? This particular briefcase had the game in it, also had a novel, and it has a controller. I've never actually used a controller. So, you do? Uh-huh. So yeah, if y'all want to play around, y'all want to look at the controller? So, huh? The blue one?
Have you ever reviewed the Call of Duty MW3?
Yep. Hold on, I'm gonna let y'all see this too. I'll let y'all look around.
Okay, at this time, all rooms should have speakers in them, so we'll go ahead and start our first session.
Alright. Now, what's really, really tripped out is sometimes they send items, for instance, like that briefcase, but some of them are just totally over the top. Max Payne 3, how many of y'all have ever played that game? Or have y'all seen it, alright? This was a swag item, alright, that actually you could, that if you went to a particular conference, I can't think of what it is, but they actually had this. Now, look at this, alright? This right here, it says Max Payne 3, but this is actually a pen. But it looks like a bullet, right? And there you go. And then you can write. Alright. So, pretty interesting, like I said. But, so, like I said, the thing is, they send me the game. And y'all see, like, Halo Reach, it was in there, alright? So, what they'll do is they'll send me a game. I play it. Now, I've been a gamer ever since the days of Pong. How many of y'all know what Pong is? You know what Pong is? Tell me about it, please. What's your name, young lady? Okay, now tell me about it. What's Pong?
white bar and then this other white bar, and they can just go up like that, and then yellow square.
What's your name again, Lauren? You going places. I'm telling you right now, straight up.
Hi, I'm Miss Schumacher.
Okay, how you doing, young lady?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks.
All right, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right, so, but since the days of Palm, but I've been playing games. So every time that I get a game in for review, I play it, and I think about me as a consumer. I'm also a dad. I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. So I play the games, and when I'm finished playing the games, I write up a review for the paper and also for a station. How many of y'all here habla español? All right. This particular paper, I'm actually going to pass this around, and I think I have 3 copies, so someone's going to get this particular paper. It's a little bit older, but this is the Lavos section, and I have a weekly column that runs in Lavos. How many? What does the word Lavos mean? Yes, ma'am. The voice. That's right. So right here, we actually did they let me do a story about Call of Duty, all right, and about shooters. I know y'all are very familiar with what happened at Newtown. So what I did was I wrote a column about it, and in the column, what I said was that video games are not to blame for the shooting. That it was access to guns, access to weapons. So, but, hey, welcome. How y'all doing?
We're just trying to get everything organized. Sorry for interrupting.
Yes, ma'am. No problem. You're not interrupting. So, all right. But like I said, the thing is, I write a weekly column that runs in Lavos, and I'm gonna pass this around. But if y'all see it, y'all can see my mug. This right here. Sometimes I use this to scare off roaches. All right.
Okay.
So, but like I said, I've been working at the paper 5 years. Now, you may ask me, okay, Mad Skills, what could I do to write about video games for a newspaper? I'll tell you this. Most of y'all in here, who's the oldest student in here? How old are you? Yes, sir.
I'm older.
How old are you, ma'am?
I'm the teacher, so
oh, you're the teacher?
I'm still in school.
Oh, all right. Yes, ma'am. Well,
supposed to be in 16.
Most of y'all in here, by the time y'all are finished with college, which I'm guesstimating is about anywhere from 9 to 10 years.
7.
7?
7.
Okay, 7 years. That the newspaper, if it's going to exist, but it's probably going to be in digital form. Right now, a lot of people, what they'll do is if they want to look at my stories, they'll just go online and look at them. And that this right here, print, you know, it's going to be a digital version that you'll be able to actually read. But since everything is changing, what I encourage you to do is work on your writing and also your command of the English language. Even if you look at, I have some videos on YouTube where I unbox, for instance, those particular video games and items. Very, very popular, has about 11,000 subscribers, which is a lot. And all you have to do is just Google my name, Willie Jefferson. The only thing is, the difference between when I was your age and where y'all at now is the evolution of the internet. And y'all are able to write your stories, do videos, put them online, and guess what? You could actually end up developing a following. Whereas with me, I had to go to college. I majored in communications with an emphasis in print journalism, and then I started working for a paper. Now, how I actually got started, my editor at the Albuquerque Journal, I went to him, I said, hey, can we do a tech page? And he said, can you own it? I said, yes, sir. Now, what's really important that I encourage y'all to do is learn more than just your job. For instance, anyone in here have a job? Okay, no one has a job just yet. But whenever you do get jobs, be it you work at Subway, be it you work at GameStop, thank you so much. Wherever you work, learn more than just your job. Because what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a really awesome opportunity to, an opportunity may present itself. And what ends up happening is if you have more than the qualifications, that could be the difference between you and another person getting a job. At the Chronicle, the reason that I ended up getting a job there about 5 years ago wasn't because I'm such an awesome writer, which, hey, I think I'm one of the best writers in the world. But the truth of the matter is, I learned the computer system that we use to make the pages. I learned that back in 2000, 99, 2000. And when I interviewed for the job in 2008, they said, oh, they looked at my resume. They were like, you know DTI. And I said, yes. They said, we're migrating to that system. And even though I wasn't as strong a copy editor, and a copy editor, what they do, they come up, they put the headlines on stories. So a lot of times when you look at a story on Yahoo, Google, even the Chrome website, you'll see the headlines. The writer never really comes up with the headline. They actually have people that do that. They proofread it, make sure everything's grammatically correct, and then they do the headlines and then output it.
See, our students are responsible for doing that in their own articles, because they have published their own articles, and
nice.
They do everything.
Nice. So, but the difference is now you're able to not have to have a middleman, that you can put your information on the internet and people can see it. But what I encourage each one of y'all to do is learn more than just your job. And when you're writing, you know, your teachers, your mentors, your supervisors, they may want you to write a particular way. But even if you have to do that, always have your own voice. Always. Because that's what's going to make you unique. That's why people keep coming, watching my videos. That's why they keep reading my writing. Honestly, you know, I grew up, my dad's retired Air Force. I moved around a lot, and then I moved to a predominantly black neighborhood. I grew up, you know, seeing two different cultures, but that's who I am. And your backgrounds, each one of y'all have a unique background. And that's what's going to make people love your work. Because anyone can write. Seriously. Jar Jar Binks can write. But that, anyone.
I don't think they know who that is.
Why they kind of like just went over
They were
their
born in 2000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so,
wow.
Yeah, they don't.
So, but I can tell you, honestly, y'all, whatever you do, you keep writing.
Oh.
Keep having a write. And look, honestly, with this particular job, like I said, I went to my editor and said, hey, let's do a tech page. Before that, I was a copy editor. And he said, okay, go ahead, you know, do the tech page. So because of skills I picked up at another newspaper, I was able to actually design, write my story, and even come up with the art for it. And do the, you know, do the headlines. He was like, this is nice. So we started publishing it. And as a result, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, they started seeing my work. I was like, hey, you know, like I cover video games for the Albuquerque Tribune. Can you send me a review copy of the game? And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. And now, you know, I work at one of the biggest newspapers in the country. And what I do, that's what I do in my spare time. So I actually have a room dedicated in my house that if you walk in there, it's like, whoa, man, looks like GameStop on steroids, you know, and it's just all this particular stuff. I mean, and this right here, I'm telling you, like the Halo Reach briefcase, I'm telling people like, wow, dude, I've only seen one of these for sale, all right? It was $375 on eBay. Buy it now. Someone bought it. Just like that, because these are so rare. But honestly, whatever you want to do, even if you do want to be a video game journalist, keep pressing at it. It's going to be hard work, I can tell you. It really, really is. But keep having a dream. Don't let anyone dissuade you. So, do we have any questions?
Guys, we have about 5 more minutes. If you have a question to ask, now would be a great time.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
Say that, Christopher.
When are those things that you gave back?
That right there, those are called control freaks. There's a company, matter of fact, tell you what, I have a sticker. Who wants a sticker?
Me. Everybody.
Okay. Everyone wants it. I tell you what, I will let your teacher figure out who is the coolest person, and like,
oh, they're all cool.
I'm talking about like, well, the star student for the day.
Okay,
that'll work.
That.
So,
We're
okay.
taking a quiz today, so we'll see who has the best grade. And we'll
Okay. Most definitely. Well, Control Freak, they make these controllers. Matter of fact, on my Halo controller, right? What you do is you'll put them on top of these, on top of the analog sticks, and then it raises your hand a little bit. And I don't know if any of y'all here are familiar with Call of Duty, with Battlefield, and with shooters, or even with NBA 2K13. How many of y'all like NBA 2K13? All right, bet. So basically, your thumbs, they need to be off of this because sometimes you go, like I'm trying to shoot somebody, I'm trying to go to the basket. What the control freaks, what they do is they'll raise your fingers, your thumbs up just maybe even like a quarter of an inch, but it makes it a little bit easier and it makes the responses a whole lot faster. So that's what I gave that gentleman.
Anti-carpal tunnel, right? Okay.
Trying to be.
All right.
Definitely. All right. Did you have a question, sir?
Oh yeah. Did you study on Call of Duty Black Ops?
Have I studied it? Yeah. No, sir, but I played it. I have Black Ops, and then Activision sent me Black Ops 2, and I actually have 2 copies of Black Ops 2, the Hardened Edition, the Wii U version of it, and the care package, the one that has the drone. So the drone is sick. It's beast.
So I want to reiterate what you said. You said that you could literally do anything. You know, your passion is video games. And
yes,
you
ma'am.
can get paid and people give you things all the time, don't they? They always give you games, don't they, for the most part?
I won't say that the games are given. They're sent for review.
Okay.
Unless the company or the PR firm, the developers say that they're free, then they're technically sent to me on loan until they say, hey, you know what, well, we need this back. But yes, ma'am, basically, because of where I work at the Chronicle, and the Chronicle has an incredible reach that sometimes I can write a particular story and bigger game sites will see it, but it's because of the Chronicle's reach, and people know that, and they're like, oh, wow, so they can send me, I remember, and I don't know if they're like me saying this, but I don't care. All right, EA and BioWare actually has an office in Austin, but there was this game that's called Mass Effect. How many of y'all know Mass Effect? All right, well, Mass Effect 2 was coming out, and I wrote EA, I said, hey, can y'all send me an early review copy of this game? And the guy said, well, we'll see what we can do. I wrote him back, I said, look, I work at the Houston Chronicle. All right, at the time, it was the 7th biggest newspaper in the country. I said, we have print circulation of over 400,000. Of that 400,000, most of those are households, so at least 2 to 3 people read that. So that's 800,000 eyes. Plus, online, we have nearly 2 million people, unique views a day on the website, cron.com. You send me a $30 game, I will play it, I will review it. It will run in print, it will be online. You will have in upwards of 3 million people looking at your particular game. You do the math. Within 24 hours, they had overnighted me, FedEx me a copy of the game.
So
actually, they sent 2
games. It has its perks, being able to enjoy what you do and write for a living, and it's the best of 2 worlds.
Definitely.
Because we have a lot of students that love video games, so what I was, hoping that you would monitor with our students or get in their heads is that you can do everything that you enjoy to do, even if it's playing soccer or playing sports. If you like it a lot, you can write for the newspaper and you can go to games for free and you can make it your life to do these things that you enjoy through the art of writing.
Right, and honestly, with writing, it opens up numerous doors as a result of it. I've been able to meet, there was this guy, actually, he recently got let go by Disney. But how many of y'all are familiar with the game Epic Mickey? All right? The man that created that actually is from Austin. His name is Warren Spector. And he was the founder of Junction Point Studios. All right? When they announced, Disney emailed me and said, hey, we have an event in Austin. We'd like for you to cover it. So I went up to Austin, and I kind of figured I knew what it was. And we went there. It was the unveiling of Epic Mickey 2. So I was like, sweet. So I got a chance to actually meet Warren. Really nice, down-to-earth guy. I met the guy that created... How many of y'all know the game Guitar Hero? I actually met that guy. His name is, I want to say Kai Hong, one of them. They're brothers. And what happened is they were over in Japan. And they saw Dance Dance Revolution and how they actually have arcades dedicated to it. And they were like, what would be really cool is if you put like music, like maybe a plastic guitar or something. They were like, okay. So they actually started their company, Red Octane, and ended up partnering with Harmonix. Now, how many of y'all know what Harmonix, the company, is? Don't know, huh? What about Rock Band? You know Rock Band? They're the people behind Rock Band. So the people behind Rock Band were making the instruments for Red Octane, and then Activision packaged it all together, and there you have Guitar Hero. But as a result of my job, I've been able to meet people like that. Very, very awesome.
I think we have to, one more question, we have to move.
Okay.
In just a few minutes, they're going to make an announcement for us to keep transitioning.
Yes,
to
ma'am.
class.
All right, yes, ma'am.
Just Dance?
Ma'am? Yes, ma'am. Just Dance 4, yes, ma'am, I do have it.
It's really awesome because my cousin is obsessed with Just Dance. My other cousin is obsessed with Guitar Hero, even though he thinks it's not even still that old.
It actually is, because they discontinued it, but it was just because of financial reasons. But Just Dance is awesome, and I actually got a chance to interview one of the dancers, the female dancer for Just Dance, and I'm actually her Facebook friend. So I mean, it's really, really cool. You know, yep. But yep, very, very cool dancer. She's actually from France, and Ubisoft, they're the company that make it. They're a French-based company. So, the time to go.
Are they going to make an announcement, or do we rotate?
She's going to make an
Yes, sir.
Oh, are they going to make Black Ops 3?
More than likely, yes, they will. Simply because Activision makes so much money off of the Call of Duty franchise. So what they will do is, every year, if you notice, they've always released Call of Duty, something. And it's two different companies. One of them is a studio called Infinity Ward, another one's called Treyarch. And what they'll do is they leapfrog every year. And it's just continuous money. So this year, there will be another Call of Duty. I can guarantee it. Yes, ma'am.
How do they put like the game together?
Basically it's different components. First of all, they have people that are planning. So okay, you know what, we want to do this game. So what they'll do is they'll talk to writers, and then they'll talk to actual game designers who on the computer will design, for instance, characters, plot, talk to composers that write the music. And then what they'll do is they'll bring all of it together, and they'll have what you call a beta build. Now, with a beta, I don't know how many of y'all have ever heard of a beta. All right? What a beta is, it actually is the game that almost the near finished product. But what happens is there's still a whole lot of glitches. So they actually have people. Sometimes they aren't paid, and then sometimes they are. But they'll play the game, and what they'll do is they'll say, oh, you know what, there's errors. And they'll keep track of all the errors. And then the developers will go back in there with the designers. They'll correct the errors most times. And then when they're done, they'll have a finished product. And what they'll do is they will press it. And the first few presses that come actually are gold.
Teachers, at this time, it's time to go to session 2. So please take your homework to session 2.
One more quick thing. I've actually done beta testing, and I'm actually in this game that's called Test Drive Unlimited. If you ever play it, you'll see a guy that's over president of Club D, Willie Jefferson. It's your boy. Okay, well look, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for letting me come into your class. I'm on Google me, Willie Jefferson Houston Chronicle. If you're on YouTube, look for my channel. It's called madskillzdotcom. If you message me, I'll give y'all like a download code or something, alright? Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys.